I think you're always playing the odds, right? When you're on the ice.
A massive rescue effort to save snowmobilers stranded on the ice of the Erie Canal this afternoon. 7 people had to be rescued. One of them helped after falling through the ice. Good evening, I'm Dan Schrack. It took several agencies and dozens of crews nearly 2 hours to get everyone to safety. And as Natalie Kutchko tells us, this was the end of a lengthy trek. Natalie?
Authorities say the group started out in Brockport. They traveled almost 14 miles as the ice drew thin, and after a 2-hour recovery, all survived, though officials say the incident could have ended far worse. Crews arrived to an area of the Erie Canal off Chilai Avenue and Buell Road in Gates to find one snowmobiler who had fallen through the ice. Gates Fire Chief Alan Buell says that person was able to get out of the water alone and was sent to the hospital with a fractured arm. 6 others were stranded farther south near Brooks Avenue, closer to the city of Rochester. All required a rescue.
About 4:35, we began a rope operation to remove those individuals. They were stranded due to broken ice, so they abandoned their sleds, and one by one we pulled them up with a rope rescue operation. We had all 6 of those individuals removed by 5:23.
A quick operation with the help of nearly 40 crew members from various county, town, and city agencies. For a relatively mild winter day, the chief says it was highly dangerous.
It's not consistent. The thickness isn't consistent. Then you get a sunny day despite cold temperatures, and you're apt to have a situation like this. So we're just thankful that we were able to affect the rescue of all individuals.
Snowmobiling on the Erie Canal, however, is illegal. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office says charges for the individuals involved could be pending.
We don't want to add insult to injury, but we also want to send the message that this is not allowed, this is not tolerated. We don't want to see anybody else put themselves in a bad situation.
We're told the Sheriff's Office will be working with the State Canal Corporation to determine what charges could be filed in this case.
Tonight, the rising cost of living hitting renters particularly hard. Many now facing an uncertain future.
I have to move out. I don't know where I'm going, but you can't stay here.
Rents on average increased 14% in the last year. Data from Redfin revealing it's the largest annual jump in 3 years. Good evening, I'm Jenny Ryan.
And I'm Doug Embledge. The rise in rent is coming at a cost to many who say they simply can't afford it. As 13 WHAM's Carla Rogner reports, many people say they have no choice but to try to find something less expensive.
Yeah, that's right. One report from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York shows the average cost of rent could rise by 10% this year. Some renters I spoke with say it's not as easy as just moving to a new apartment. Rent is going up everywhere, leaving them stuck over what to do next.
No warning that it was going to go up.
Melissa Herman immediately began making plans to move when she learned rent at her Webster apartment would go up $450 a month.
Definitely don't want to pay what I was paying in a mortgage for an apartment that is not suitable as far as living conditions.
Renters like Melissa don't have many options.
The tenant either has to pay up or move out.
According to New York State renters law, landlords can set their own prices so long as they give tenants written notice.
Basically, landlords can, again, assuming a private housing stock, landlords can charge what the market will bear.
The rise in rent is a concern for the citywide tenant union of Rochester.
We get calls very regularly from tenants who are facing rent increases that they just can't afford. So they call us, they say we're getting 30, 40, 50, sometimes in some cases even more % rent increases, and they just don't know what to do.
The union is looking to pass rent stabilization and eviction laws to protect tenants from dramatic increases. For Melissa, paying the new price is not a reasonable option.
And after this, it's like I have to move out. I don't know where I'm going, but you can't stay here. So
the pandemic has been difficult for landlords too, with eviction moratoriums. Some experts say the spike in rent is a way to make up for lost profit.
Watches the Beijing Olympics this month. It's hard to imagine that the tiny village of Lake Placid once hosted the Winter Games. And given their growth, it's even harder to imagine that the Games could return to the Adirondacks region. But Lake Placid has not given up on its Olympic dream. And as Doug Gumbers tells us tonight, there is some serious discussion about bringing the Games back to the North Country.
Don, it's easy to come up with a whole bunch of reasons why Lake Placid could never host the Winter Games again. The Olympics have seen incredible growth since 1980. Lake Placid is about the same size as it was then, and the village doesn't have the infrastructure. It doesn't have enough hotel rooms. So why even discuss it? Well, there are three reasons. There's a movement in the Olympic world to revisit some of its historic venues. Two, the ski jumps, the bobsled run, all the other venues from the 80 Games are still world class. In fact, they've been renovated. And three, Lake Placid might not have to go it alone.
The charm of Lake Placid is the fact that it isn't overdeveloped, it's not urban, it's an alpine village in its truest sense.
So right now, Salt Lake City is next on the list for American possible venues. But what if Lake Placid didn't have to go it alone? The possible partner cities that could put Lake Placid back in the Games. Don, we went back in the archives in 1980. We saw, we all remember the Miracle on Ice, remember Eric Heiden, but there were also huge transportation issues. We talked to one guy from Fairport who went there as a kid, got off a train. It wasn't even a train stop. They just got off at a crossing of a road and let people out to go to the Olympic Games. So a lot of memories of 1980, good and bad.
That would be, you need all the hotels. You need that infrastructure. You only have so much space. It's a tiny building.
Think about this. In Beijing, there are venues that are 140 miles away from Beijing. So maybe we could talk about some partner cities, and that's what they're talking about, and that's what we'll talk about tonight at 11.
And transportation challenges, if they ever got the Games again, the time frame to put something in place, high-speed rail or something from New York.
They started the 1980 bid for Lake Placid in 1960, so 20 years. So we're talking way down the road.
All right.